Hello everyone, this is Kiwiigamestcg coming at you with a deck profile for my Darklord Power Patron Kristya lock. I've done a couple of videos of this already on Dueling Book, but I wanted to bring this to the forefront and real life here. So, and then we can talk about different things that we'll be able to do with the deck. All right, let's start out with the lineup here. This is the Power Patron lineup. We're going to have one Midius, one Jupredo, one Nervado, two Vidolium. There's a reason you want two, because they're also fairy, so that's really important. And then obviously, I do not run the field spell. However, I run the three Terminus. Very, very important. This also lets you combo off if you need to get another card for Eggshell to pitch. Usually it's going to be, it ends up being Golgalette. So this is all you need. This only can special once per turn. And then this card, if you summon it out with Medius, then you're able to just use the effect. Make sure that you search for your Darklord Fusion first, and you're able to make sure that doesn't get banished. Sometimes it's unfortunate. We run a higher deck count, but you could end up getting your Kristya banished. So it's just going to depend. There's other ways to circumvent using its effect, and we can get into that. So that's all for the Power Patron lineup. Darklord lineup, one card combo, literally the best card in the deck if it goes unchecked. And we have Eggshell, 3 Golgalette. You do still need Morningstar. You can side it out, but I like having it because when you're using now the Falling card to bring it out, you can do the milling with the card, and that lets you gain life points as well. So you don't have to run the life point trap. One is Modius, and that's it for the Darklord, and then the card it drops. So if you already have this in hand, what you want to drop is the Medius. You want to drop Medius the Pure into the grave. So that's also a good target as well. That's it for the monsters. These are pretty obviously one card starters get you whatever you need. So 3 banishment, 3 contact, 1 dance, 1 rebellion, and fallen angel in darkness. Really important. I like this card. I cite it out, but whenever you're doing your combo, always set this card. There are times where people are going to try to break your board with Droplet, and you can bait them into overcommitting. A lot of decks don't have traps, and I've had fields where I'll just get rid of my field and just end on, let's say they sent 3 or 4 cards, I'll end on 2 cards by popping. No, they're going to bait out my Herald that I usually have on the field, and so this lets you dodge a lot of things, and now this lets you dodge a lot of things because you can send any fairy to special 1 from deck. So if somebody's going to try to do something, it's easy to dodge. Also point out that for ruling with Kristya, Kristya doesn't chain. It doesn't start a chain. So when let's say you send it with Fallen and goes on top of your deck, if you don't want to see it, that's fine. But there's a nice combo where you will banish Asmodeus. You send this Asmodeus, like Kristya got negated. Send this, get Asmodeus, but you'll do that at the end of the turn and then dump this again. Or you can dump, you can do a lot of different things. If you don't want to draw this card, then you can obviously special something else from your deck, and it does allow you to stall. That's it for that. Let's go with the one-ofs. We got Call By, Triple Tactic, Foolish. Uh, Foolish is by far the best card in your deck, and the reason being is that if you open up a brick card like Morningstar or something, you dump the Medius, and now you're baiting the Medius. The whole point is we want to try and combo with the Dejity to do the lock. So we want to bait out everything that we can possible. But this card to send Medius and start your combo off that way is like ridiculously good, and it can put back a Kristya if it's a dead card in your hand. So very good. Now hand traps, 3 Ash. Herald is amazing, especially if you open it up with Medius. That can really do a lot of funky stuff. And then we got the Impulse. This will conflict, of course. It doesn't conflict with Ash, but try to use this before you use this. If you can't, then it is what it is. We do have extra deck monsters that let us pitch cards, condemned, so that you're able to get the combo piece you need. But that's it for the hand traps. And then we have some breakers. I had super polys, but sometimes you get fairy locked and you have to sacrifice a card and it's hard. But also Fallen allows you to set a synchro to the graveyard to use Vidolium, where you can literally send the Vidolium effect of the fusion, the synchro, and XYZ, and you can get the XYZ pretty easily. It's Verudrous, which we'll go over, and then I did 2 droplets. You could put a third one if you wanted, but because it's searchable for me, if I already have like Darklord Fusion in hand, then I'll just go for this card if I have the rest of my combo pieces. I'm budget, so I can't do Crown. You can use Crown instead, but I still think Droplet's really good since you can get a lot of value. Let's go over the extra deck real quick. So I'm running 2 Condemned, 2 Rahamu, Herald, Verudrous, 2 Evening Star, 2 First. Again, this is all because Cool Tune, you may only ever need 1 Darklord, but Cool Tune is a thing and you can get your cards banished. You definitely want to run the Nerva. You can technically blow up somebody's board if you do this with Nervado. And then obviously Ecclesia, Albion, SP, and Protector is a flex spot. It's between this or Clockwork Knight, because sometimes you'll have a field where you may need to summon the Geprado and link it off into a Clockwork Knight, and then you'll take whatever 2 monsters that you have, if you have a second one, and you go to SP. Or you may need to link it off, get your search, and then go into Rahamu to start getting your fairies on board. So that's it for the extra. And then side deck's a little, we obviously generate tokens, so I have my little tokens here. So for the side, Lightning Storm, 2 Lightning Storm Harpies, Mistaken Arrest, Fua, Droll and Lock. Weird 4 spots here. You can do as you like. This is what I currently have right now, but it's Solemn Judgment and 3 Dark Ruler No More. I feel like this is pretty balanced depending on whether you go first or not. The reason I don't have a lot of going first cards is because the going first lineup is pretty good. The only thing I'll really be putting in is the Solemn and the Mistaken Arrest, depending on the matchup. Solemn's going to go in every time because I will side out. I will side out the Fallen and put this in its place. So you won't need it going first. but everything else I feel is pretty solid. All right, guys, let's do some quick test hands. I'm going to power shuffle here real quick, and then I'll show you some lines of play in real life. I know dueling books a little bit different in the sense of like people like seeing it in person, so I want to try doing this for you guys. I really love this deck. I've played over 600 games on dueling book. I know the ins and outs of it. Also, it's extremely strong right now because of where we're at with people not really running Ghost Spell except for Cool Tune. So your Darklord effects in the graveyard are not going to be really much of an issue. So if we're going first, all right, so we see our opening hand here. Some people like to say like Asmodeus is a brick. It technically is, and this also is, but it just depends on what your lineup is, right? So we already have a going first card. So what we're trying to do is bait Ash or bait any of those other effects. So I will always, since I have my starter, I will banish Mint and grab the Eggshell. Now, let's say in this instance they troll us. Okay, we get trolled. That happens. So they troll us. We play Dejity. They have an Ash Blossom for the Dejity. Okay. All right. So what are you going to do? Well, we're going to set our trap, right? And then on their turn, what will happen is we're going to block them. We're gonna send. They better have another Ash Blossom. We're gonna send this, and then we'll summon Golgolette or something allows us to set up our board. But if that isn't happening, if they didn't Ash this, then more than likely they're going to Ash this. So you would send the Eggshell. You would send the Eggshell and the Golgolette to the graveyard, draw 2, and then effect, you're always going to want to get your fusion. So we have the dance now. Now, the dance basically checks Ghost Spell, but most people aren't running it, so basically the entirety of the combo will now be you do the Dejity. Dejity will we want to save the Eggshell summon, so summoned Golgolette, we get 2 tokens. And now at this part of the combo, what we want to do is actually link off the token and Golgolette. And we're going to go in Condemned. So Rahamu requires 2 effect monsters. So we're going to do Condemned. So we're going to start setting up our board. So when it comes to Condemned, we're going to pitch the trap. Reason being is because we can copy the trap, engrave with, Eggshell or something else. So we're going to send that. And usually what I'm going to do is I'm trying to just deck thin. So I'm probably just going to grab the Morningstar. And that's fine because it gives me options. Tap Morningstar gives me options. Now at this point, you're going to link off into the Rahamu. And then with Rahamu, we will summon the Asmodeus. Asmodeus will dump the Kristya. Or like I said, if we had Kristya already in hand, we could send Medius. Now, the reason I'm doing this way and I haven't fusioned yet is because what ends up happening sometimes is people are running the Dominus Impulse, right? So we're going to link off and we're going to immediately go into the Herald, right? So if you're going into against a certain matchup, um, I don't want, I do not want the dance to be stopped in any in any way, shape, or form. So now we're going to dance, banish the token, and then usually what I'll do is I'll banish the Asmodeus. So he's banished back here. If they did, for example, try to stop it, then I will pitch one of my fairies. So try to have a fairy in hand when that happens. So we're gonna bring out our super duper evening star. Now what I do is I put the evening star directly underneath. So it'll be like this in the zones. We have Asmodeus banished. So now Evening Star is going to set 2 cards. So in this instance, we've already used our banishment. So we are going to set the Contact and the Rebellion. So Contact, Rebellion, they're both down. Now, we have several fairies here. So we have quite a bit of fodder if we want to start comboing off, but I want to start deck thinning a little bit. So I will use the Contact and I'll summon the Eggshell. And the Eggshell will use the effect of Fallen Angel and Darkness. So I'll pay the 1,000 life points. I don't have to send anything as cost. So the thing you can do here is actually summon the Asmodeus that was banished and use his effect to dump Medius. It's only once per turn per copy on the field. So now we have this little interesting little dynamic here. If we needed to use Medius, if we weren't fairy locked, but I mean we could still shuffle Asmodeus back into the deck, summon the Medius's effect. He will let you search out one of your pendulums, right? And you can add the Dolium and start getting some follow-up for next turn. So that's really good. And now you would Darklord Fusion. I will banish the Eggshell. You pay the 1,000 life points. I will banish Eggshell, Golgolette, and the Condemned. Remember, you can now summon the first of the Darklord. The dance goes up back on the top. First of the Darklord will now summon Kristya and start the lock here. Now, if you want to get some further resources, you can Dejity banish, add the Golgolette so you have it for your next turn. And now can't be targeted, can't special, can't target, spell and trap negate, pop, and then you also have your Fallen and the Virtuous. And you have 4 cards in hand. And then when you pitch this, you'll be able, depending on what they have, I would search a maybe Forbidden Droplet, and that'll let you basically help break their board next turn. So what I'm talking about when people go to Droplet you, what you're able to do is, let's say they go Typhoon, and I say, oh, well, I want to stop the Typhoon. I'll pitch to Golgolette. They say, okay, I'm going to Forbidden Droplet you. And they send 3 cards. You say, okay, you're going to send 3 cards. So typically what you're going to do is, if they didn't send a trap or a spell, and now you have options, but if they send the trap, what you do is you send this. You ask them if they have a response. You go like this, pop, and then you will send, obviously, your Fusion, Albion, and you'll get rid of this. So if they sent 3 cards, now you still can't be targeted, and they still can't special summon. So now they've essentially gone through all the board breakers, and most cards in the game now target. So it won't really matter. They're probably not going to break your board. So, well, guys, if you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. I'm hoping to do more combo videos, and then there's a different version of the deck that you can do without the Power Patrons. It is a little bit more bricky. It is the Ostinato version. I'd loved that version for a long time until I stumbled on this, but the Ostinato version puts out crazy board, which I'll show on Dueling Book how that works. Thank you guys. Have a good one.